Good afternoon, everyone. A warm welcome to all the distinguished panelists, esteemed guests, and our live audience joining us from across South Asia and the globe. I am Priyansi Desai, your host for today's roundtable discussion, part of the inaugural South Asian Global Intellectual Property Summit 2024, organized by the Center for Development of Intellectual Property and Research CDIPR, Naovina Development of Intellectual Property and Research Foundation. As India's first dedicated non-profit organization for intellectual property rights, CDIPR has been a trailblazer for intellectual property rights. CDIPR has a vision to democratize IP knowledge and is committed to empowering creators, innovators, and businesses to effectively harness their intellectual assets. Our efforts are anchored in fostering inclusivity, sustainability, and economic resilience through innovative IP practices. Today's event is partnered by LiveLaw. This summit is a month long celebration of intellectual exchange and innovation and has brought together global thought leaders, policymakers, academicians, and industry professionals to discuss the evolving landscape of intellectual property rights in South Asia. Today's roundtable discussion is pivotal as it aims to address pressing challenges under the theme Bridging Borders, Strengthening Intellectual Property Frameworks for Innovation, Climate Resilience, and Cultural Preservation in South Asia. Let's embark on a journey of knowledge, collaboration, and solutions for IP in our region. I am now privileged to introduce today's chairperson, Professor Dr. Syamala Kandadai, Dean of Faculty at the National University of Study and Research in Law, Ranchi, India. Professor Dr. Syamala has been instrumental in shaping the discourse on intellectual property and its role in fostering innovation and regional integration. Ma'am, the floor is yours for the opening address. Ma'am, your mic is not here.
You have to unmute yourself.
Thank you. So, good morning, good afternoon to all, and welcome from India to this August gathering. I welcome all the speakers. We are here to gather, discuss about the bridging borders, strengthening intellectual property framework for innovation, climate, resilience, and cultural preservation in South Asia. I'm very, very happy that you all gave consent to be part of this particular wonderful program. And we all know very well that today is in today's economy is the knowledge economy. Today's economy is the innovation economy. Entire globe is being carried out by the innovation, and innovations are the solutions to all the problems the society is facing across the globe. So, with this, let me start my welcome address. We SARC countries are rich in cultural heritage, biodiversity, facing multilateral challenges simultaneously, and being one of the ancient cultures, having rich traditional knowledge, rich biological resources, rich cultural expressions, we are prone to IP violations. If we do not have a robust IP legislative framework, it is very, very difficult to survive in this particular economy, global economy, or knowledge economy. So, if we look into one by one the countries of this arc, Afghanistan IP system is in nascent stage with limited enforcement mechanisms. Bangladesh efforts are underway to modernize IP law with a focus on aligning with the international standards. Bhutan, they made strides in the IP protection, particularly in safeguarding the traditional knowledge and cultural expressions. India has a well established IP framework with recent amendments to the patent law and the copyright law. We can say that, we can say that innovations are on peak in India. And we also saw some sort of challenges in terms of the IP enforcement, like there is a decline in the patent filing. There are issues and challenges which the country is facing at the international platform with regard to IP enforcement. Maldives IP laws are evolving with emphasis on protecting the tourism related trademark and cultural heritage majorly. Nepal recent efforts to make the GIs and traditional crafts is really amazing. One second. If you look into the Pakistan, focus on patent protection and combating counterfeit is the major challenge they have. In Sri Lanka, comprehensive IP framework with recent efforts to protect traditional knowledge and promote innovation is the major challenge they are facing. So each and every country in this arc is facing one or the other challenge with regard to protecting their own IP and facing actually the challenges from the global front, like counterfeiting, like piracy. These are the major challenges which the country is facing. Not only that, biopiracy and protection of the traditional knowledge and genetic resources are the major issues. If we come to the SARC innovations, each and every country has its own strengths in different technologies. Like if you look into the India, advancement in IT, pharmaceuticals, and the renewable energy, startups, ecosystem is thriving in fintech, edtech, health tech, wealth tech, right? And also a lot of patents are being filed in these sectors. And biotechnology, genomics, these are the major strength areas in India. Whereas when we look into the Bangladesh, growth in textile industry with sustainable practices, expanding ICT sector with focus on e-commerce and digital services, these are their main strengths. Pakistan is more focused with the agriculture, water management, and also fintech is also growing in their country. Sri Lanka advancement in agri-tech and sustainable tourism and digitizing crafts and cultural heritage. These are only few, areas which I'm focusing upon. Otherwise, all the countries are thriving excel in all sectors. Nepal is majorly focusing on renewable energy innovations in micro hydro projects, and tourism obviously is one of their excellent portfolio. Bhutan focus on sustainable development with eco-friendly construction, progress in digitizing government services. Maldives marine conservation and sustainable tourism, and renewable energy with the climate resilience. Then Afghanistan, grassroots innovations in agriculture and education. And they are also focusing on mobile technology, etc. So each and every country has their own strengths. Their certain industries are flourishing like anything in their country. And when you are talking about the technology, automatically the patents, the trademarks, the copyrights, industry, business, and so on forth are somewhere has to have the interface with the IP laws. So the objective of this summit, we can say that IP summit is to focus upon the IP role of IP in fostering innovation in each and every country, and how we can collaborate and cooperate with each other to develop more more sustainable, more resilient IP frameworks to address these issues. The role of IP, we all know very well, in fostering the innovation, that is incentivizing the creativity and attracting the foreign direct investment, and enhancing the research and development, and facilitating the technology transfer. These are the roles the IP plays in fostering the innovation. And each and every area, like incentivizing the creativity, each and every country's legislative framework in IP provides the protection to the IP owners, IP creators, be it in the patents, be it in the copyrights, be it in the trademark. and especially GI. Every country has their own robust legislative framework, and these IP rights motivates the local enterprises, the small and medium enterprises, and academic institutions to invest in R&D. Many technical universities are being encouraged in all the countries to establish their own R&D and to come up with the patent filings. When we look at the IP framework and challenges, what we have is, one is the enforcement issues. And weak enforcement, everybody knows that weak enforcement leads to rampant piracy, counterfeiting, etc., undermining the IP rights. It not only develops the IP litigations within the domestic framework, but also in the international framework, international front also, our countries are facing many challenges with regard to piracy, counterfeiting. We are also coming up with so many efforts to curb piracy. We are having the effective, for example, if we are taking into the movie industry, video piracy, we are all having the robust information technology legislations. We are trying to protect the innovations, or we can say IPs of the different industries, with all these efforts with through different legislations. India recently came out with the Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita, Bharatiya Nagarika Suraksha Samhita, right? These are the legislations which they made to modernize the criminal legislations. When we come to the IT rules, information technology rules, we have the information technology intermediary guidelines which were amended in 2023. These are also very important developments. When we come to encouraging the people to come forward to invest in India, we are coming up with the global standards in areas like data privacy and data protection. Likewise, we are trying to provide all sorts of mechanism to develop a sort of comprehensive legislative framework to protect the rights of the IPRs, not only from the IP legislative framework, but also through different other legislative laws. Now, coming to the IP and innovation growth, we all know very well that IP, as I started with this word, that IP is the knowledge economy, and this is going to be the future oil for the survivability of the industries, right? So if we do not have a robust innovative mechanism, there will be a serious challenge to the innovation growth. We all know that the growth started the industrial revolution. So technology is majorly driving the entire country, not a country's economy. So each and every country, whoever are rich in technology, whoever are rich in what you can say that innovations, they are the ones who are going to lead the world. So when you talk about the World Innovation Report 2024, India is also one of the leading country, and other countries are also trying hard to come forward, to develop their own strength in each and every sector wherever they are having the domestic expertise. If you look into the case study of IP framework in India, the recent amendments, as I told you, to the patent law and the copyright law, actually are you know encouraging us to move ahead and look forward for the future development in these sectors. And what are the challenges if we look into? We know that weak enforcement mechanism, like we have IP legislations, no doubt. World Intellectual Property Organization is already providing a sort of support to all of us, all the countries, to develop a robust mechanism. And TRIPS Council also mandates us to comply with the minimum standards which the in IP framework we need to follow. But apart from that, there is a issue called awareness. There is an issue called enforcement, wherein we all lack somewhere. That's why we are all struggling hard to go up in the rankings of the World Innovation Report or World IP Report. If we can focus upon the enforcement mechanism, in terms of IP rights, like for example, especially they, protecting the rights of the patent holders, protecting the rights of the copyright holders, trademark holders. Then maybe we can say that, to an extent, we can strengthen our IP mechanism. Then, as I told you that, awareness is very less. Even as on today, if when I started my career in IP way back in 20 years back, when I started my PhD, doing my PhD in IPR, people were used to ask that property, jameen, that is, land, that is the issue people were asking. Even as on today, I feel that though people know about trademark, copyright, patents, they pick up these language or the words from the newspapers or from through their general knowledge, but still they do not understand the difference actually between these terms. And they do not they often get confused with these terms. So IP awareness and education is more important, especially for the students of technology. They doesn't know. When we go to the engineering colleges or any biotechnology classes, even the professors, the teachers, the students, they all face challenge when we start explaining them with a very basic words about the IPR. Streamline registration process. The major challenge which I feel in terms of the IP enforcement is the cumbersome or difficult IP registration process. Filing is very challenging. Many of the professors say that it's not very user friendly. So many methods are there. We need to, some or the other way, had to rely upon the IP attorneys. Yes, we agree that IP attorneys are essential, no doubt. But to start, even for example, if you are talking about the trademark filing, there is a possibility that if you do not understand, you may be misguided by the people. You may be stuck in vicious circle of getting to the same level again and again, even though you have a very good trademark, you are using it for last 20 years, it's like very distinctive. Still you're not able to establish your distinctiveness because you're not aware of how this term distinctiveness is to be interpreted. Then foster collaboration and technology transfer, provide cross-border technology transfer, agreement formats, some technical expertise over it, some legal experts who can guide. So those things are also very important, wherein we can create the awareness, we can create the manpower, and along with that, if we can relax certain registration processes and complex formats which we have, then I think we can boost innovation, we can boost the IP in our country. And especially one more point where I would like to focus is upon the petty patents. Many of the innovations which are not like very high standard, which are like very minimal level of novelty, non-obviousness is there. That kind of patents also require to be protected, to encourage the people. Maybe the threshold level of the protection may be little less compared to patents, and the kind of right enforcement may be little less compared to the patents, but petty patents will definitely encourage, because countries like us, where we do not have the excellent R&D infrastructure, still there are you can say large population. While catering to the needs of the large population, many of the people invent small development, small innovations. So those things also required to be focused upon, so that would help us in growing our economy. So finally, I'll just conclude by saying that we all agree to the point that IP is very important as on today for each and every economy to grow, and robust IP framework is essential for fostering the innovation, climate resilience, and cultural privilege preservation in this ARC region. Diverse IP frameworks We have different IP frameworks, though we are all being under the umbrella of the trips, and we need to somewhere learn from each other, and suggest to our countries to modify the frameworks to suit to the global needs. Then recent amendments, whatever are there in the other countries, we can learn from there. Like IT, as I told you, that it is not one framework with which we can work and we can develop the economy. It's like a combination of different areas in different fields, which when come together, that's where we can develop the a sort of robust IP framework. We can say we have a robust IP framework. Then coming to the, as a child already explained, the challenges in the enforcement and strategies, we need to develop a sort of strategies. So by the end of this IP summit, I feel that we can deliberate upon these points and come up with a sort of strategic framework suitable to our domestic requirements. And we can come up with a sort of uh, you know collaborative research work, wherein we can suggest to our governments that these are the lacking changes, these are the changes which we want to propose. So with this, what I feel that we can come forward and we can work together in the future also, collaborate with each other, and help each other, support each other in taking forward this idea of you know South Asian Global Intellectual Property Summit 2024. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Now we move forward to the first session titled as Harmonizing Regional IP Laws for Economic and Cultural Integration. Our first speaker for today is Professor Dr. Arhan Thapit, Professor and Dean, Faculty of Management and Law at Nepal Open University. Dr. Thapit will shed light on the harmonization of IP laws across South Asia to foster economic growth and cultural preservation. Dr. Stapit, over to you.
All right, all right, all right, Honorable sir. I can also see Dr. Gururaj sir, Anushka ma'am, uh, Prince distinguished delegates, fellow panelists, scholars, and professionals. It is this esteemed gathering on the critical topic of harmonizing for economic and cultural integration in South Asia. All right. So for this presentation, in order to make it within the time limit, I have a slide also so that it can be within the time limit. So very brief one. Basically, critical topic of harmonizing regional IP laws for economic and cultural integration. Got a few points to discuss here. Basically, in this context, promote regional harmonization and cooperation and collaboration. So then, so I first I would touch upon some of the issues South Asia itself. So South Asia is the regional is a region of diversity and potential. So, because we all know South Asia is home to 1/4 of the world population, and it is the region very rich in cultural heritage and so on and so forth. However, despite this potential, the lack of property laws across the region is highly pronounced. It could pose significant challenges to economic collaboration, cultural preservation, and equitable development in the socio-economic exchanges among the South Asian countries and societies are relatively intensive. As I mentioned last time also, in India, uh, there is a very common saying like roti and beti, the exchanges. So then interdependence is highly pronounced. It is prominent, and so particularly Nepal, like other South Asian countries, IP journey, intellectual property journey, strive while also forced economy today. Well, then looking at this case, so let me talk about uh, the case for harmonization. So, of harmonization for South Asian countries, including Nepal, India, Bhutan, Maldives, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and is more than a legal alignment. It's more than a legal alignment. It is for sure prosperity among the member nations. Barriers to trade, technologies transfer, and also limit collaborative innovation. For example, I would like to talk about and Nepal's traditional knowledge, TK, such as medicinal plants and handicrafts, are often underprotected. I've used stories, so many several journalists in the past before I joined university system. I spent more than 15 years in the English National Daily of Nepal's government. So then I involved. So I always knowledge uh, and biodiversity, and these things have not been all these things vulnerable to exploitation. I also emphasize that is first example. Second example is like entrepreneurs and businesses in Nepal face challenges in securing consistent patent and trademark protection across borders. And mind that this stifles innovation and trade opportunities. And it is, well, having said these two examples,
Excuse me, sir.
enable,
Sir,
yes,
actually, your voice is cracking.
sorry, I couldn't get it.
Sir, your voice is cracking. So we cannot hear you clearly.
You
Your
are not
voice is cracking.
Seems to be a little
you
bit
are
of
not.
network issues.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
maybe. Okay.
Now it's
Do it
Now
one
it's
time.
okay,
All
sir.
right.
I think if you switch off stop your camera, I think that would take less.
Well, so Mars two examples. Then I also emphasize how Nepal, Bangladesh, Bhutan, all to safeguard cultural assets, attractively into regional markets, and then to global markets. All right. Then Nepal's case. Now I come down to Nepal's case. Well, okay. So. Yeah, the IP laws in Nepal include Copyright Act 2002, Copyright Rules 2004, then Act 1967 with amendments, of course, and then Rights Bill 2004. It's significant strides in strengthening earning copyrights, trademarks, designs, integrated circuits, so on and so forth. However, several challenges remain. One is protection of traditional knowledge. I have emphasized many a times. Rich heritage, including indigenous medicine and a different form of Ayurveda. Yeah, and but Nepal's form of Ayurveda is a bit different because it's more based on Himalayan herbs. And my last speech back. Okay, then and all those things. And then Nepal's rich heritage lacks adequate piracy, as the chairperson, ma'am, also has rightly pointed out. In this part of the world. Well, then second challenge I have observed is biodiversity conservation. As a signatory, Nepal resources, harmonized type can enhance Nepal's capacity to negotiate benefit sharing agreement. Then, more importantly, the another challenge is like limited public and institutional often hinders innovation. I think other countries are also no exception to it. These are the challenges. Then, by participating in regional, can not only address these gaps, unique strength, such as its biodiversity, cultural wealth, to the shared regional framework. Okay. Important, and now I would to talk about economic and cultural. Uh, First, there is the patent can help Nepal collaborate with neighboring countries and in fields like pharmaceuticals, renewable energy, maybe some other areas. But the innovation and second one is the opportunities which industries. Okay, creative industries, where copyrights maybe can boost not only in Nepal but also in other countries. All right, chairperson has already pointed out, these creative industries would focus art, tourism focus films, tradition and culture. South Asia is a highly rich region in terms of creative arts, uh, sculpture, paintings, and other forms of art. This region or in the Indian subcontinent is world famous for traditional and Bollywood music has a unique blend of with an influential tinge of Tibeto, but it has been under researched. Sorry. So, traditional knowledge is something very important. So the opportunities also lie in the area of traditional knowledge that can help Nepal establish stronger mechanisms to protect and commercialize and also protect and commercialize its biodiversity. To be specific, Newar indigenous community, that is the community indigenous to Kathmandu, that community. So Newar, which is the word from Newar, the country has been named Nepal. Okay, Newar, Nepal. Okay, rich in traditional knowledge, especially in the areas of food cuisines and uh, healing technology. It also has preserving cultural identity. While economic integration is crucial, uh, IP harmonization must also respect and protect South Asian nations, since we are so diverse in terms of culture. Talking about Nepal, we have 126 indigenous groups and as many languages. Okay, so very, very diverse, of course, despite its very small size. Okay, so a regional framework can include diverse mechanisms or appropriate and reward the holders of traditional knowledge, holders of TK, and the holders of genetic resources, ensuring that they receive fair compensation and acknowledgements. Okay, now I come to talk about the path forward. Okay, so the path forward before us to harmonize IP laws and address Nepal's specific needs. I would like to propose the following steps. First, regional dialogue. So, Asian IP Forum to promote it to establish a South Asian IP Forum under SAR to discuss challenges like arrangements and technologies have special focus on protection of these things and of course the conservation of plants and all. Then second step we need to do is like we should create protecting traditional knowledge and protecting each country's national sovereignty, irrespective of their size. Some countries are bigger, others are smaller, but irrespective of their size, national sovereignty is always important. Okay, so then, of course, while we talk about policy alignment, collaboration in collaborative research should also be emphasized. Okay, and this was the collaborative research was something ma'am also emphasized earlier. Building. Okay, so it is to enhance IP awareness through training, technical and other community-based organizations. And the fourth thing we should do also is like the strengthening local IP systems, local IP systems. Okay, like we work together for everything. Very important. So strengthening local IP system is domestic IP enforcement, and also join hands with the region and fair competition. And now I come to the conclusion. Well, and honorable chairperson, ladies and gentlemen, Nepal's story is basically emblematic South Asia holds. Right. So this is something Nepal's story that are emblematic, okay, emblematic of the potential that South Asia as a whole holds. Harmonizing I uh, but also a heritage and driving inclusive growth together. So together we can tribes, culture is celebrated and preserved, and prosperity. So let us take this opportunity cooperation and ensure Asia in the. Thank you so much. That's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Now, Now we move on to the second session titled Climate Change and Technology Access Overcoming IP Barriers. We have Professor Dr. Azid Ur Rahman, Director, School of Law at Qaid Azim University, Pakistan. Dr. Rahman will discuss the challenges and opportunities in accessing climate resilient technologies in South Asia. Dr. Rahman, the floor is yours. I guess Sir got disconnected because he's having some network issues.
Check with them, and if possible, we can move forward with Professor Deepak.
Okay, yes, ma'am. Sure. As we move forward, we have the session titled Digital Transformation in IP Strengthening Legal Frameworks. This session will be led by Professor Advocate Deepak Parmar, founder of Cyber IPR India. He will highlight the need for robust IP frameworks to address the challenges of digital transformation in South Asia. Professor Parmar, can you please begin with the session?
Thank you, Ms. Desai, for my wonderful introduction. And before I comment my session, I would like to comment upon our chair, Shamla ma'am's observation. Can I have permission to do the same, ma'am? Okay. Uh, and I hope I'm audible and it's loud and clear. If not, yes. Okay, thank you. Say, ma'am, you discuss about a certain aspect of IP, which trademark usability, friendliness of a trademark registration. So, as we are aware of a current development in a IP regime, where temporary hearing officer were appointed, and whatever they did for last 2 years, that was considered to be relooked and rechecked. So the real problem lies at the two end. One is at the office level where we need to really come up with very good resources which are not only good at doing their work, which create some sort of certainty in what we are doing it while filing the application, but at the same time there should be a user-friendly approach, which by and large is lacking. So that's an area where uh, most of the simple work can be done by the applicant himself without waiting for the attorney's assistance. So with there we can use the AI, ML and other things which our offices start using it. And I hope they will learn to pass a reason order which sometimes create a many problems. Uh, Now I would start with my session where it's digital transformation and IP. So when we are looking at, we are living in a digital world, and most of our activity, main prime activity like a business, social and personal life is already moved in a digital world. Although we are living in digital world, but are we aware of that nuances? Answer is no, we are not aware how to live in a digital world, and which create many problem at a personal front and a business front also. If you're looking at what are the development in a business side which are already moved, like from commerce to we move to e-commerce. Similarly, the cloud integration. So something which was happen on individual machines are moved in a cloud environment. Similarly, if you're looking at some of one of few example like iPad, when I sorry, uh, when it's come up with a new invention where how iPod, not iPad, iPod, where we are consuming music has been changed. Earlier, we require CD player, cassettes, and we can enjoy at a fixed location. We cannot pocket thousand songs and move around and enjoy the music. So iPod is a technology which has changed way we consume the music and how music being sold to us. So that create a lot of disruption in system. Similar, if you're looking at few other examples like Ola, Uber, they change way we are working and living in a world. So we moved in that way in a digital world, which changed. Mr. Sai, I'm audible or so this is something which is then if you're looking at social life aspect of ours, we move from real friends to the e-friends. Most of them we have not met them, but we always count social currency. We post something and we are counting how many likes we have, how many comments we receive, and then to respond to the comment immediately, like them. So we moved in that real world to that of a artificial, or I would say, not so real world, and we are in an illusionary world where we are more dependent on e-friends rather than friends. Here, I would like to one UK case where graduate has been imprisoned for 6 months. What he was doing it first day, first night, going for a movie show, recording the same on his iPad, uploading on a BitTorrent to be enjoyed by others. What he's doing the share activity for getting kudos from his so-called online friends. So he moved in such a way where he's uploading and he finally got caught. So similarly, if you're looking at development in India, We in Chennai we have like a initial case where one movie along with the movie filmmaker musical part or some other editing part, that movie part was or movie or entire movie has been stolen from that. Few students were involved, three students were arrested. So then if you are looking at in e-world, initially we are giving the order for the entire web address to be blocked, whether it's for illegal part or otherwise. Then we move to the specific URL. Then we had a problem with the Hydra sites. Moment you block one, it come up with a many other Hydra monster kind of things. Many heads come up. Then we came with that injunction where we can unknown dependent. You just simply mention a register. This person has this another URL came. So no need of going before the court. So this is something which is where on movie and other aspect we are. And personal how we are moving, we are more relying on a device like Apple Health or iFitness, where we are monitoring our uh, health parameters, pulse, uh, heart rate, BPN, all other aspects, but we are not following a simple basic, and sometimes we are giving more importance to the gadget rather than human being or fellow being around us. While we are out for a dinner, most of the time we are glued to our screen rather than talking to a friend. So there were the this. Now, if you are taking this, what will be the future reality in case of a AI generated life? Where I would say AI generated will be more scrutiny. Everything will be managed by AI, like a supply automatic supply chain will be created, which will be accurately defining what will be the possible demand, and based on that they will sourcing the material using a drone or automations vehicle for a delivery and so on. This kind of, and a Tesla vision is like a factory as a product where everything AI will take care from possible demand to actual delivery of the product without any human intervention. And if you're looking at how it would be the social world, then AI would be power like participation would be there, civil participation. Earlier, currently we are using social media for creating trend and some kind of movement like uh, Me Too movement or hash and a certain movement. That's something which you are doing it. Tomorrow scene would be there, the AI would be recognizing your feelings, giving that feedback, and it would be something which is participated in a decision making by the government. And personal would be more like your entire need, personal need will be taken care by some AI enabled machine or AI assistant. Now look at the now where we're moving. It will be not a far. I think we are already moved in that romantic relations are also being AI based many times. Many people have friends or a partner which are not a human being but AI. There are cases where we prefer them because as a human being we have another concern. We don't like rejection. We don't like somebody saying not giving importance to me, whereas AI would be perfectly uh, train or develop instrument or software we can say, which will be cater to all your need. And another disturbing trend we can see, there's a virtual character. We may have a character which will be passed away, and we can talk to them. They will recorded video of theirs or their feature, and we can, even after say a loved one of my family member or some other one passed away, still I can connect with them through AI assisted virtual character. So they are like a little disturbing trend which I would say we are going in it. So when we are taking then another concern is AI is reliable. Like open AI, they are having a creating version. I don't recollect the version, but when they're developing, they have given specific tasks to the AI. We require you need to solve the captcha puzzle, which always when we are logging in, that's something which visual will be there with some number plus something or some kind of a visual uh, puzzles is there which need to solve. Kept AI unable to resolve that puzzle. To complete his band-aid, he contacted other human being on online. I need assistance for solving this puzzle. Then other person on other side get little suspicious. Why you require assistance? Are you robot? Are you AI or robot? He said no. Then he said, I have a visual impairment, so I cannot see the puzzles clearly. So now here are the two aspects we need to look into. AI know how when to lie. Second, they are smart enough than us. He given a perfect example, visual impairment. So this is a perfect answer can be given to misguide the human being. So that's something which is, if you're looking at deepfake and other things, are very problem which can be created by the AI. And now, if you're looking this, continuing with the earlier example, that AI is able to do all uh, false and also things. What if tomorrow we have created AI, bypass us, take control, charge over it, then it will not be very far where we will be controlled, guided by AI rather than us. And by the way, who is managing the AI? And now there's another ethical issue which came like a whistleblower, Suchir Balaji, has been recently passed away. So that also give a thread ki how powerful this lobby is. I don't know what is the actual transfer, but that creates some kind of a doubt. And this AI race, two players are in the forefront, two countries rather, US and China. All other countries, including South Asian countries, we are far behind this race. And actually, who are controlling this AI? Who is forefront? People from Silicon Valley and also saying they are controlling what kind of life we will have. Because movement, we are depending more on AI. Say, in education sector, most of the project are Chat GPT project, I would say. We have a typical case before the Delhi High Court where somebody has created his assignment through AI-based assignment. Authenticity of that is always question. So this is something which we are adopting that. And again, uh, why? Say if you're looking by the industrial revolution, few countries like UK, France, and other Japan, they have forefront and they have exploited world for another 100 years. AI race would be much bigger. One who is controlling the AI will be controlling the world. So we need to understand what AI is doing with us, how we can stop AI from controlling us, manipulating us. If we start giving ownership of patent or IP to AI, then it's another problem. Another aspect like a data set which is used for the generation of a training data set for the AI machines. It is again whose copyright we are dealing with. Are we taking a permission of a copyright owner before using the data? And this is something aspect we need to look. If you are taking some material, say again like a recent case of Arjit Singh, somebody has created AI-based instrument or tool to record a song in Arjit Singh voice. And fine, it's the copy of one person and you're stopping it. What if it's become like a research project? They're copying from multiple sources and labeling it a research project. So if that scenario, if I take a feature of a different singer and then I created some machine, it's like a simply human being, which is learning for many and knowingly or unknowingly start you imitating some aspect of particular singer or particular author and it's reflected in your final work. If that kind of a copy being created by AI, where we are heading it, then there are cases like AI models are created where COVID time they have created with amazing stuff like they are creating a model which are human. It's a replica of the human, and you can have control like a face if you are targeting particular country. Like for Bangladesh, I will have a feature of a model which is similar lookalike of that Bangladeshi model, Pakistani or Nepali. So that kind of easy changes on a model can be done with a few clicks. Calm, and the entire photo shoot and everything can be done in a couple of hours rather than wasting a huge time, money, and energy for this. And it's become real, and then Lala World AI and many have start giving this kind of services. So this is something which is AI will be creating scenario where we will have a problem at the job market at the both supply side also and demand side also. There will be many which are out of job simply because what they know is now done by AI. And what AI engineer or data scientists require for AI, people don't have that capability. That's the world we are living in, where more and more we are believing more and more in a technology rather than a human being or institute. If you take the leaf of the currency, when currency is or money is a big leveler, or when I do a business with some counterpart, unknown counterpart in other country, money is something which create a trust. And trust in a physical money, I will trust in a government or institute like RBI, federal government, Federal Reserve. So this is something which I believe in. Whereas cryptocurrency like a Bitcoin and other coin, you are not you come up with the premise we don't believe in a human and human institution, you believe in a technology. Now my problem is whether this technology is reliable is question mark. One who controls the AI will decide how our life would be. So I'm ending with the session without clear cut direction where we will heading towards, but we need to be very alert, need to ensure that how much control we are conceding to AI, which is nothing but a software, and its maker will decide what our life would be. And they may not be the elected representative. It could like Elon Musk or somebody who is being controlling the AI. So we are in maybe in AI world, and maybe the few circle of the where we are earlier controlling animals, we domesticated, and we get from animal kingdom we get a prominent as human being in control of things around us. We may be in a verge of losing a control if we are not alert enough to protect what we have. Thank you, and thanks organizer and chair and all other fellow panelists for giving me this opportunity and hearing me patiently. And I'm open for a question at the end or right now, whatever the chair thinks appropriate.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for bringing up lot many contemporary issues from movies to the artificial intelligence, open AI. Really, these are the future challenges which we all will be facing in terms of IP. And obviously, copyright issues is going to be more and more in terms of open AI. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Thank you, sir. Sir, we do have a few questions for you. So, if you would be able to answer, the first one would is what are the main gaps in existing IP laws in addressing challenges posed by the digital transformation?
Say, here I would have a very simple law is always lagging behind the technology advancement, and by the time we get a solution for first one, that problem has been no more a problem, but we have another problem to deal with. And if you're taking a leap from like a technology world, like where criminal or hackers, way they are exploiting a one vulnerability so much. So they are well organized, they are having sharing each other services to them, whereas we information guarding like a CISO and they are fragmented and working in a silo. So what happened in one organization is not revealed to other. What happened in one country is not revealed to other. So that's we created silos. So that silos helping the criminal to extract maximum outcome of one vulnerability. And where the problem, another is the law is always catching up. If you're looking at a credit card and those things which are there for 20 years, then the regulation came. If you're looking at a mule account problem, which is the backbone of all cyber frauds, but I am looking in last 15 years, nothing much has been done. Currently, RBI come up with the Hunter AI dot AI or something, and other good initiation taken by the government telecom department. Any call comes from outside India will reflect its own original number and will not be masked with the local Indian number. So most of the controls are getting, but we always lagging behind the technology in creating control. And it's sometimes huge like a 20 year in a credit card. Hope so in other we will not be lagging behind so much. I hope I answered the question.
Yes, sir, very well. There is one another question that says, how can nations ensure that IP frameworks evolve to keep pace with rapid advancements in the digital technology?
I have got a simple suggestion. I want to quote one minister. He says, if you are not getting IP in time, it's simply because your attorneys are asking us for an adjournment. They are not coming with the information. I always say problem is when we are having a situation, it's not because of a one stakeholder. All stakeholder needs to be uh, agile and open enough to admit their own shortcoming. We cannot have attitude, I am right, you are wrong. Problem is that which is affecting all of us. Let's have a broad approach. We have a situation. One thing is rather than blaming each other, let's look where we can have a good workable solution. But with due respect, all our ministers, bureaucrats, they always think this problem is because of you. If that's the scenario, why we will have a you appointed a quasi judicial officer without taking due care, and after 2 years you realize it. After court says it, you're relooking the all order passed by them. Again, the mechanism of relooking is also under the question mark. So where we are heading towards? We need to keep. You need to involve all stakeholders, and you cannot have a I'm big, you are small, I'm right, you're wrong. We have a situation, let's hear it out, brainstorm it, and be open to changes. Day before yesterday, I had a session in IMC where I given session a future of mediation in IP regime. Same suggestion I had given to Honorable Minister Piyush Goyal sir. We should include mediation. Simple patent dispute which can be resolved by IP office in 8 months is taking 8 years. We are living in a digital world where technology has a life of a couple of years. You may get patent for 20 years. By the time a dispute is resolved, that IP or patent has no relevance for me. More than 2,40,000 trademark oppositions are pending. What we are look at the what is happening in other like UK and Europe. They have a cooling period where both the party after fighting of pleading they will given a chance settle it amongst yourself. So that cooling period is where the culture is created where parties negotiate with each other, and with consent of both the party you can take it for another period of 2 months, or both the jurisdiction have a different time frame, you can extend it. Singapore similar, they give the pre-hearing assessment of the case where they will give you what are the likelihood, and then it's not binding. Again, there is like a stopping of a proceeding to be there, where they allow you, encourage you for one-to-one discussion with other side. That's where we can. So that kind of we need to look what are the possible options and good practices followed by other country. Take the leaf out of it. Anyway, mediation we are talking in all forums from each highest constitutional authority, from president of country, prime minister, chief justice of India. Everybody is talking about mediation. Let's incorporate mediation practice in this like a three aspect. With due respect, I'm just taking a minute or two to explain where we are. Like a three aspect, like IP office related dispute, which can be we can include like cooling period, adjudicate non-binding adjudication on a matter. Those something which we can incorporate from there. Like good practice of US, which not only gives the objection but gives the what is a possible way of resolving it. Here, many times we get objection of my mark is objected with my own mark, earlier mark. So where is the application of mine? Zero. Opposition also this pulling of period. Then so those mediation we can have something which mediations were pending for a last 20 or 30. Again, and if you're looking at a court, it's like it's commercial dispute. So section 12 of a is attracted 12A. So there you can again it's only for a immediate remedy. Immediate relief you can go before the court bypassing a mediation. Most of the IP litigation is revolving around immediate relief. And third, which is hopefully it's a good, is a domain name dispute where we have a NICSI and UDRP provisions are there, which helping in resolving dispute in 3 months time or around 3 months. There where we need to move all this to resolve it, because nobody here to be waiting for very long, and that discourage the very ecosystem of IP. It was a long answer, but I hope I'm able to throw some light.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Uh, Ma'am, we do have few questions directed to you, Professor Shamla, ma'am. The first question says, what are the benefits of having a unified regional approach to intellectual property law enforcement and awareness in the South Asia?
Thank you. Obviously, it will help all the countries, no doubt, because if you have a unified approach, like we can say that together we can grow. That would be the one line answer. And it would be helpful for all also, because if we have different line of IP legislations, different protection mechanisms at different levels, it would be it is like it's okay, all the countries are having legislative framework, they have their own regulatory framework, their own filing, etc. But looking at the European Union, the kind of development they had in terms of IP, if we can come up with a unified one, it would be helpful for all. It's a it's a sort of one-time solution for all of us in all these problems. Like there are different levels and different challenges which each and everyone is facing. But I don't know whether it would be feasible or not. That is also one thing. Because each and every country has their own focus area, right? Each and every country has their own challenges. Local conditions are different, local framework, local circumstances are different. So if we can keep all these together, then I think we can achieve unified IP legislative framework. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's like very, I don't know how to put it, whether we can achieve it or not. It's very easy to speak, but it is very, very difficult because of the different local circumstances or the scenarios which are there in each and every country.
Yeah, ma'am, I agree with what later part you said, and one of the example is patenting of a software. India says software per se is not allowed to patent it. US is very liberal and leeway on it. Japan is like anything which is related to software, we can able to do it. UK have their own other different strength. So these were they have a diverge view. Same for AI also, and like there are certain pertaining area like a child pornography, most of the countries are on same page. So we need to find out the area which is a common and pain area for all these countries, where it's like unified for like Europe. If you are looking at Southeast country, then we need to identify which are the pain area. Which like a child pornography case, it's a pain area for entire world. Similarly, we need to find out the space which is a pain area for all uh, countries which want to come together, then we can find out and don't have to live in an ideal scenario where one law across the globe or across the region. It's quite difficult, as you rightly given a various thread why it is, because each country is in a different phase of their development growth. So it's very difficult to have a common like something is like if you compare developed versus undeveloped, like carbon emission and all such thing. You did all development, you spoil the environment. Now you are dictating ye mat karo, wo mat karo. That's something which is we
Yes,
are
sir.
seeing.
Recently, the US is coming up with some incentives for those who are complying with the child labor standards, right? But the issue is that if we go strictly with the child labor standards in for some SARC countries, it would be really difficult. What about the alternative sources you are showing to the family for income, right? So those children, if they do not go for work, they are deprived of earning. Then who will feed them? So if we do not have the alternative mechanisms, it's very very difficult to have a sort of standards. Like for example, we have the generic drugs. In India, we have Section 3D of the patent, which is like we people all the world is criticizing us for our higher standards. But if we are not promoting the generic drugs, how will you ensure the health to the public who are not able to afford that kind of higher prices, right? So these are all different challenges which we will be having. Each and every country has its own different issues to address. So, a unified legislative framework can be unified framework can be brought in, as you rightly said, that provided if we can, as trips laid down the minimum standards. In the same way, if we can come up with some minimum standards which all the countries had to comply, which is suitable to all the countries, and upon that a flexibility can be given to the countries to raise the standards as per their needs. So then we can have a sort of minimum standards tailored to each and every country's requirements.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir, for your insights. Now we move forward to the last session of today, which is IP policy and digital innovation, a way forward for South Asia. This session will be headed by Dr. Gururaj, Assistant Professor, Institute of Law, Nirma University, India. Dr. Gururaj will shed light on the important policy decisions that South Asia should make in order to protect the IP rights. Sir, over to you. I guess sir got disconnected again. Okay, we have a few questions. If the chair permits, we can move ahead with the questions and either of you can just answer.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We have a question of how can South Asian nations leverage regional IP harmonization to foster cross-border trade while preserving unique cultural identities?
See, the answer is, sir. Sir, you want
Please,
to
please,
say something?
please, after you.
Fine. See, any country, if you want collaboration at the country level, a regional cooperation, first thing is that we need to respect each other in general, right? And we need to recognize mutually the IP rights, right? So to facilitate the trade, as I told you that both the countries has to have the minimum threshold level, minimum standards, which are similar to both the countries. That is the first point. Second point is that somewhere both the countries uh, has to have a sort of simplified IP procedure, mutual recognition of IPRs, right? And then there shall be some sort of common enforcement mechanism in terms of counterfeiting, IP infringement. When you look into the international investment, right, people will come forward to invest in your country only when your standards are meeting the global minimum standards, right? So then only the people will come forward to invest in your country. In the same way, when you are talking about the cross border trade also, people will come forward to trade with your country only when your robust IP mechanism or the legal mechanism is able to protect their IPR. Fine. Suppose if if we want to license any patented technology, then we need to have a sort of mechanism to protect the infringement also, right? The famous this case of US versus China. China has come up with this framework that that if any information which is being shared as part of the cooperation between the US and Chinese companies, that data, once the agreement expired, that data can be used by the Chinese companies in, for further purposes. So this is actually a sort of violation of the trade secrets or the confidential information, right? So US have fought a lot during Trump period, previous Trump's regime with regard to this Chinese policy, right? That any information which we are sharing, patented technology or trade secrets technology, any confidential information which we are sharing as part of the technical, cross-border technological transfer, that had to be protected. So those minimum standards, if you are not laying down or following, then people will not be interested in doing any sort of cross-border trade with you or, you know, have any sort of trade link with. So this has become the global norm that some minimum standards which you need to follow. So I think if we have this kind of mutual recognition, mutual respect for both the things, and some minimum standards, the global, meeting the global requirements, then obviously we can promote. Thank you.
Yeah, just adding a point here, the environment of a trust, which is something which is we are living in the economy, whether it's local or global, where trust deficit is something is a problem. Trust is the lubricant for any relation, which hold good for your cross-border transactions also. What are the protection my innovator will get in your country and your innovator will get in my country is always something which is always uh, questionable. So that element of a trust deficit at all level, at the inter government level, then needs to be addressed. Once we address that trust deficit, we will have a trust surplus, and then all other economic activity will have a coming in a bulk. Say, without naming the country, why we are not playing in particular one country? It's a trust deficit issue. So unless we are not addressing the core concern of a trust deficit, we will not have a cross-border transactions with the neighboring or other countries. Flourishing, I would say, rather than a transaction, flourishing relation where we can together we can grow along with each other.
True. Actually, in this regard, sir, I would like to bring to the notice of the audience the Jan Vishwas Amendment of Provisions Act 2023, which is a very new legislation. This legislation has been brought into picture, for the protection for this purpose of ease of business, ease of living and doing business, right? So it actually decriminalized and rationalized many of the offenses, including the IP IP offenses, and they actually removed the part of the imprisonment. They incorporated the or retained or incorporated the fine, replacing the imprisonment. So we need to somewhere, as I told you, that promote the ease of business, meet out the global standards, and provide a sort of an effective mechanism for the IP infringement or protection of the IP rates. Then people will come forward to trade with you, right? So that is the first step. Second step is, as sir said rightly, that it's all about the trust. If government after government, if the policies are changing, when there is no stability in the policies, that also creates a sort of distrust in the people, that we don't know what any sort of this state of political uncertainty or legislative uncertainty will create a sort of fear in the people, to come forward to trade with you. So these things also had to be taken care of. Then only we can say that yes, we can create a sort of positive environment for the cross-border trade. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Now we move towards the conclusion of this session. And as we conclude this engaging and impactful discussion, I take this opportunity to extend my heartfelt gratitude to everyone who contributed to its success. First and foremost, a sincere thank you to our esteemed chair, Dr. Shamla, for her keynote address, our panelist, Dr. Arhan Thapit, who unfortunately was not available for the discussion round as he had some prior commitments, Professor Deepak Parmar, and Dr. Aziz, who also could not join us because of some network issues, for sharing their profound knowledge, practical strategies, and visionary insights in this roundtable discussion. Your passion and expertise have offered us a deeper understanding of the intellectual property rights in South Asia. We are truly inspired by your dedication and commitment to this field. I also extend my gratitude to the Novena Development of Intellectual Property and Research Foundation and our visionary founder, Mr. Dipendu Das, for their unwavering dedication to advancing IP awareness, education, and cross border collaboration. A special note of appreciation to our technical moderators, Ms. Anushka and Ms. Priya, and the organizing team for their seamless execution of this event. Your efforts behind the scenes, from meticulous coordination to ensuring a flawless virtual platform, are deeply valued. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope you will reconvene with us for tomorrow for the round two. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Deepaji. Thanks to
Thank
all
you,
the
ma'am.
esteemed guests. Fine, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
And hope to see you in person very soon.
Sure, sir.
Okay. Bye bye.
Thank you.